What's up, guys? Welcome to JR Strength and Fitness. We're gonna be watching Kumail Nanjiani's workout that got him shredded, because obviously in the last couple of years from his transition from, I think he's mostly played little roles in like Silicon Valley, and then all of a sudden he has to play an Eternal in the Marvel movie. So obviously he had to get shredded, and I saw the picture. Dude looks pretty shredded. So this is just gonna be a reaction video to that whole thing.
You can say hello, but I don't need you to like.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. On this channel, we talk about all things personal training, whether that is the business side of personal training, whether you're trying to be a personal trainer, become successful as a personal trainer, or you're just interested in the field and the exercise science and fitness and all the other stuff. But every now and then we throw a little fluff your way, aka these reaction videos. So in this reaction video, like I said, we're gonna be reacting to Kumail Nanjiani's workout that got him shredded for that Eternal role. So basically he's supposed to be some sort of superhero. So we're gonna check it out. For the most part, I know what he looked like before, and I know what he looks like now, so I'm assuming it's either going to be one heck of a workout, or there's going to be other things. But before we get into that, if you are new here, please hit the like button, subscribe button, let your friends know about me. If you are interested in more reaction videos, it is right there. And of course, if you are returning, well, welcome back. And then obviously, hopefully we got more of these rolling out. I got a lot of topics I want to go over the next year or so. So basically things are going to bump up quite a bit. So I appreciate all of the support and obviously everything that's been going on so far. So in advance, thank you. And of course, full disclaimer, even though I am an exercise professional, please do not do anything that I say or do just because I say it or do it. Obviously, go see an exercise professional in person, etc., etc. But without further ado, we're just gonna get right into the video. All right, guys, let's get it.
This is what they call a glow up. Kumail Nanjiani throwing up a shirtless picture on Instagram that grabbed everyone's attention.
It set the internet on fire.
Hi, my name is Kumail Nanjiani. You might know me from Silicon Valley.
We're more mission focused
Dude.
than ever, providing the best video chat the world has ever seen.
Or The Big Sick. I've usually played nerds, and then I got a part in a Marvel movie called Eternals where I get to play a superhero.
Okay, so obviously he was pretty skinny, not much muscle mass. This might be one of the most impressive transformations that I've seen. I don't know the time frame. I don't know what was involved in making it happen, but it's just impressive nonetheless.
And he's not just any superhero. His secret identity is that he's a Bollywood movie star. Those guys are super jacked, so I had to really get into shape. I wanted to gain a lot of muscle, and I wanted to look like someone who could believably hang with Thor or Captain America. So I knew that I had to really transform my body. And I'm gonna show you some of my favorite moves today. We're gonna do sort of a full body workout, and I'll just show you some exercise that I really enjoy doing.
All right, before we get into it, so obviously he said it's just going to be examples of exercises, so I'm gonna assume this is not the full thing, and I'm gonna assume that it's not like a legitimate workout that he would normally do, just a bunch of exercises he likes to do. So hopefully they are a little interesting.
So this is my trainer Grant, and what's this thing?
We're on the power plate. This is a pre-activation tool. So what this is going to do is basically pour oxygen and blood into Kumail's legs in preparation for our first exercise. So it works very dynamically. It vibrates side to side, front to back, and up and down. We're going to hit the on button. And what happens here is this is actually multiplying Kumail's weight. Because of the vibration pattern, it actually creates a G-force. And right now his quads are contracting and relaxing 1,500 times in this 30-second interval.
You can feel each one. It lasts forever.
So a vibration platform, does it have efficacy Yes, I've seen some studies that show that vibration actually does have some benefit, especially if you're just trying to do what he says. Apparently, the vibration sends high frequencies to the muscles that they are contracting and relaxing very rapidly. So basically, you can have a very low intense activity like what he was doing. He was just chilling in a squat, and you can have a heightened muscle activation. Theoretically, that's what's going on. I personally have used a vibration platform in the past as a kind of warm up tool myself. What I found what was going on is it felt like I was dynamically warming up, working on my mobility, and I just felt more flexible after being on the platform. So while I don't necessarily have the research in hand, I do know that some studies show that it does help with that muscle activation if their goal is to just get some muscle activation. I'm not saying it's gonna make you stronger. I'm not saying it's gonna make you jacked. I'm just saying it might have some merit.
So the first move we're doing is the Zerker squats. I don't like doing legs. He tricks me into doing squats by saying it does a lot of abs too.
Which is all true. So Kumail's going to go ahead and get the bar and cradle it. He's going to step into the middle of the squat rack. He's going to perform squats. The weight naturally pulls you forward, which engages the abdominal wall. So very important to be strict in form with this. Obviously, you want a straight back at a slight angle forward. The weight is going to pull you forward, but you're performing a perfect squat down to the 90-degree parallel, and remain that. Don't lunge forward, and it's about a shoulder width stance.
Okay, the Zercher squat. Phenomenal exercise. Oh, my heart kind of dropped for him when I saw that 3x15. 15 reps is a lot of reps for any sort of squat really, except maybe body weight squats. But Zercher squats are great exercises because, like he said, it's anteriorly loaded. So it's going to be demanding a lot of the core for core stabilization so you can maintain that upright position. This is very similar to the goblet squat where the kettlebell or dumbbell is in front of you and you're holding it, or the front squat where you're holding it. But the Zercher squat tends to be a little easier for some people because you don't have to worry about that shoulder mobility, the wrists, etc. The front squat might be a little bit more complicated for some people and a lot more demanding for many people. Like I know for myself, just holding the damn thing on top of the shoulder is its own exercise. So Zercher squats are a pretty good exercise. 13x15, painful though.
So my favorite chest exercise is low cable scoops, and what you do is with these cables, you bring your hands together. It's like you're sort of holding water, and then you raise it up a little bit, and you try to not engage your delts at all. And you can really squeeze here and really feel the pecs being engaged. I like to do 3 to 4 sets, about 10 to 12 reps each, and end it to failure. So really in the last set, do as many as you can do until you can't do anymore.
Okay, chest exercise is a pretty standard cable exercise. Now the thing about cables that are really nice is that you get more muscle contraction through a larger range of motion, because if you want to think about it this way, a bar or a dumbbell, the amount of stretch and the amount of range of motion you have in a given exercise is basically going to be dictated. I'm not going to get too complicated with this, but force vectors basically is our relationship with weight, gravity, etc. Because gravity is always going to be straight down. So, but the cable allows for that vector to be a lot more dynamic. So basically, if I'm doing a chest fly on the bench, basically you're looking at the chest being stretched and then all the way down here. And then once you get to the top here where everything's mostly stacked, then you don't have the same amount of force being applied onto the pec versus like stretched out here. The cable though, because the force is being pulled this way, I'm going to have more of that contraction throughout this entire range of motion versus just the kind of middle area of the dumbbell pec fly. So cables work pretty good when you're going to be doing some sort of pec fly. That's what I always suggest to people. Otherwise, the standard barbell bench press or the standard dumbbell press. And honestly, if you want big chest and you want the most ideal, physique, especially for the guys, then the incline bench press is your best bet.
My favorite shoulder exercise is the delt giant set. And why I like it is you can hit all three parts of the delts, the front, the laterals, the rears in one. And I do 8 reps each. You'll see what I mean. 3 sets, and just try and do as many as you can on the last set. So here we go.
Basically, it's kind of like a 3-way shoulder raise where you have front, lateral, and then rear. So basically, yes, you are technically going to hit all heads of the shoulder, but do you want to know what exercise you are going to get all the heads of the shoulder anyway? Besides the, let's not really talk too much about the posterior deltoid right now. You get a little bit of activation in the posterior deltoid when you press overhead, but overhead pressing, whether that's with a barbell or dumbbell, is going to activate more of the shoulders, more of the deltoid anyway. So I'm not saying you don't do those exercises. I myself will throw in those exercises when I want that extra bit of volume in my shoulders and my deltoids. But if I want big boulder shoulders, well, I'm going to be pressing heavy weight overhead. That's the best way to train the deltoid.
All right, we're going
Ooh,
to
some
electrical
electrical stimulation.
We're going to apply these pads to his bicep. This stim device.
It's awful.
What's going to cause is a muscular contraction to take place, but he can
Disclaimer, don't try this at
through it.
home.
We're going to do it with 25-pound dumbbells today.
I definitely feel like a bad guy in a
There's a
Rocky
lot of
movie.
stuff in that gym.
All right, so go ahead. We're going to start with 7 crossbody curls with a twist. Good, that twist is to activate the outside peak of the bicep. Say when.
Yeah, keep going. That's it.
Okay. 7 reps. So I love this because of the activation and the recruitment pattern. It's phenomenal about how much actual intensity is taking place here. There's a lot of recruitment.
There's a lot of actual intensity taking place.
All right, 7 reps, and we're going to open up for the final 7. And we're also trying to hit and recruit as much fiber as possible. That's the great thing about the stim machine is it does pull these fibers in that you wouldn't normally other contract.
There's nothing great about this stim machine.
Well, your biceps look pretty great. And that's it.
Huh, that was interesting. So, okay, the 7, obviously the 3 bicep curl variation. So I like those a good amount. The crossover one, yes, if you do it correctly, you get to isolate that bicep a little bit. Otherwise, some people are just going to almost do like a hug, where they're basically just hugging themselves. But if you're actually emphasizing the bicep, then that will work pretty well. Hammer curl, of course, pretty standard, but it's going to work more of the brachialis. So more of that. It still works the bicep, but it's going to be a little different. And then, of course, the standard bicep curls. So this is what I know about electrical stimulation. Electrical stimulation for training, specifically for building muscle and strength, a lot of studies will show that it does provide some sort of initial benefit as far as toning the muscle, making the muscle firm. Because basically what is happening, the force plate that we talked about earlier is sending high frequencies to the muscles. They are contracting and relaxing quickly, very rapid, multiple times at a time. But on a electrical stimulation, you can technically control the amount of stimulation, but trying to send low frequencies to the muscles to stimulate the muscles to activate more than what would normally occur, and potentially muscles that you normally wouldn't be able to activate. So I've read studies that would say that it has some efficacy. I've also read some other studies that it doesn't have significant amount of benefit. So the benefits that I've seen mostly is that it does seem to be beneficial for people that are more in a kind of a rehab situation where they can't necessarily maybe do the same physical activity, the same intensity. So for example, let's just say someone is injured and they can't lift the same amount of weight in order to get that ideal stimulation in order to continue muscle growth, or if not, just attenuated. But if you can apply this electrical stimulation and continue that kind of low intensity, but having the muscles contract, actually attenuate that muscle loss, and you can actually possibly produce muscle growth. That's why a lot of people for recovery will use it, because it does provide muscle contraction, which is important for recovery. If you had a super hard workout and you stopped all of a sudden, you technically want your muscles to stay active. You want them to contract because it does help them recover. So the electrical stimulation is what that is primarily used for. But in this case, it seems that with relatively low intensity for the biceps training, that they're just adding that electrical stimulation to further activate muscle fibers that they probably weren't getting before. That's the 3 bicep curls that they have. I have my own 3 that I do, and I highly suggest you try it out. So it has a certain order based on the exercise intensity. For example, it starts off with hammer curls. So on a bicep hammer curl, you can technically curl with a heavier dumbbell. So we do 3 sets of 10 of those, of the hammer curl, straight up and down. And then we get to a little lighter weight, and then we have the normal alternating bicep curl with that supination at the top. So basically we went from straight hammer curl to the bicep curl with the rotation, and then the final bicep curl with the much lighter weight is going to be a reverse curl to a slow and eccentric bicep curl, supinated curl. So that's what I do. You can try it out and then see how that goes.
So for triceps, I like doing dips. It's a good transition going from chest to triceps. As I said, I find training arms boring, so this is a good way to keep it interesting because it still engages the chest.
Said no one ever.
So, go. So I'll do 3 sets of those, and I try and get about 25 reps a set.
Ooh.
Every few weeks I try and see if I can add a couple more reps to one of the sets and then slowly work my way up. I want to be able to do, 30 reps each set in the next couple months.
All right, real quick before the back. So I'm a huge fan of dips, specifically weighted dips. If you want to increase upper body strength and also work on the chest, shoulders, and triceps, weighted dips does pretty well. Now, I'm not saying, 3 by 25 or whatever the number was isn't impressive. I'm just saying if you're doing like 3 sets of 5 to 8 with like your body weight attached to it, that's gonna be pretty difficult.
So my favorite back exercise is the squatted cable rows. I like this one because you can really engage the lat, and you're not trying to pull the weight towards you, you're trying to drive your elbows back. That minimizes bicep engagement and maximizes lat engagement.
I approve.
Okay, so those were some of my favorite exercises. What's kept me going to the gym is changing up the workout, finding exercises I like, and sort of mixing things up all the time, trying heavy weights, light weights, drop sets. So that's really what's kept me interested in working out. Who knows, maybe in a few years I'll look completely different and I'll look back at this video and be like, I can't believe I look like that.
Okay, so the last exercise on there was the back. Obviously, it was just a standard cable row. It was just in a squat position. Doesn't really matter if it is or if it isn't. I tend to feel a little bit better if I'm anchored in somewhere so I can really emphasize the squeeze in the lats. Otherwise, it's whatever gets the job done. So obviously, this wasn't like a full workout, so I'm not going to assume it was a full workout. It was just a bunch of exercises that he liked to do and was probably in the mix somewhere. So we saw some interesting stuff. Saw the vibration plate. I like it, pretty good. If you have it, then great. If you don't, it's kind of not really a big deal. Don't think it's going to make that much of a difference if you don't have it versus if you have it. If you have it, then great, use it. And we also saw electrical stimulation. So also, it's one of those things that it seems to have some benefit, but at the same time, doesn't seem to have much significant benefit when it comes to building muscle strength. Having said that, it's probably one of those things that might be worthwhile if you have it, but might not be worthwhile if you have to go get it. So it's kind of one of those things, but I like trying new things, and I like kind of incorporating those kind of things if you have access to it, because it does add an element to a workout that keeps it fresh, that keeps it fun, etc. And for the most part, just getting reps in consistently is how you get the job. As far as the dude's transformation, pretty impressive. Now, I'm not going to be that guy that's going to point out the elephant in the room, but in the short amount of time that he went from not ever working out to looking like that, little speculation is going on, but who am I? Watch Coach Greg if you want to like know a little bit about that. I might find the link if he did that, and I'll put it in the description below if you're curious, because I'm myself am curious. I might have to watch that video and react to that one. But anyway, so pretty straightforward workout, fun exercises, and it looked pretty straightforward, nothing else to it. But anyway, obviously, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button, subscribe, let your friends know about me, and until next time.
You can say hello, but I don't need you to